No, I don't. No, I don't have it. A lot of people say they can't talk about it.
Never
But I-
shocked.
Yeah, people are shocked. I seen some horrible sights. I seen people that had their arms blown off. I'll never forget one. There was a in this one hill overlooking the bay where we came in. There were like cottages, summer cottages, you know. And in these summer cottages, they had artillery. They had them, you know, built like cottages, and actually there were cannons in them. And on one of these hills, there was one of these artillery, and the Americans came in and killed those that were in there, and they really were French, but they were controlled by the Germans. And this one fellow that was killed there, his wife worked in the restaurant, or this where they sold wine and all that. She worked on there, and she got word that her husband had been killed. And I remember just seeing her just devastated.
Yep.
But that's war. And some bad things.
What was your job in the Navy?
I was an engineer on a landing craft.
And then later you were supply.
Oh, later I was in when this was in the when we invaded Africa. Later I was a deckhand on the
Iowa?
No. On the Iowa I was a deckhand too. Well, I was on 3 ships actually. The one was the USS Rutledge that was torpedoed. Well, I was on the USS Ariel. We hauled supplies, and I was on that one. And I was just a deckhand there. And then later I was taken and put on the USS Iowa. Oh no, I was on this. No, on the Ariel. Yeah, the Ariel was just a transport. We hauled supplies to because they had troops in Bermuda, Trinidad.
Yeah.
They were servicemen, and they hauled supplies there.
Yep.
Cuba, Panama, and Iceland. They had a big air base in Iceland. And that's a beautiful country.
Do you go to the VA hospital?
Do I go now, you mean?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I haven't been to a veterans hospital. No. I've never been to a veterans hospital.
Never?
No, not since well, when I was in the service, I was in the hospital in the naval base. I was in there for 8 months.
And they treated you okay? Do you think they were good?
Huh?
They were good doctors and all?
Oh yeah. They were good, fine doctors, and they operated on my leg, cleaned that up, and it's a big, huge facility. Norfolk, Virginia.
Is that all of your questions?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, boy. Did you pump it out of me? And I hated to tell you all a war story.
We knew you.
No, the thing is to be able to remember. And I sometimes I think of details.
He knew you'd be a good one.
When we were kids and stuff like that. But I had, like I say, we had a nucleus of Christians wherever we went, and we would start a Bible study. They'd see me get down on my knees and pray, so a lot of them did the same thing. And but I didn't care. I says, when going gets tough, I said, when things get fearful. I remember seeing a lieutenant. He was one that had gone up through the ranks. Started out as a sailor and then went up. He but now he was a lieutenant. And one time, we were under attack, and this guy shook like a leaf. Instead of being able to give commands, he needed someone to hold his hand.
Was that his first time?
Huh?
Was that his first time?
Oh, no.
Huh.
But no, he'd been in the service a long time. He was an old. But when things got rough, he lost his boldness.
No confidence.
No confidence, and fearful. And you know, if you're in the Lord's hand, you put yourself in the Lord's hand.
Yep.
And not saying that you don't get scared.
Yeah.
And everybody gets scared. All of all outness, I can say that I never really was fearful. Not that I remember. Some of these guys are just scared to death, you know. But I thought, well, the Lord knows all about it. So I came back home. And I remember when I was discharged out of the nurse service. We lived on Racine and Belmont, a block from Belmont Avenue. And there was a shopping mall on Belmont Avenue in Chicago where they used to get their groceries, a grocery store and stuff like that. And I never forget the day that I was discharged. I got off the train. We rode the train from Great Lakes into Chicago, and I got off on Belmont Avenue. And then I had about 3 or 4 blocks or 5 blocks to go where Frida lived. And I was walking down the street there, my pack on my back with all my belongings in this bag, duffel bag, you know, carrying it on my back. And who should be coming down the street but Frida? I dropped my bag and I ran. Everybody thought we were nuts, I guess. And she was going to go to the grocery store and get something, and I threw my arms around her, and then we forgot everything else. So I picked up my bag and walked back home with her. So she didn't.
Never made it to the store.
That was when I came home. Came home from the service, yeah.
So she wasn't expecting you.
Well, she wasn't expecting me right then.
Yeah.
She knew I was going to be coming home shortly. But it was
a surprise.
Pleasant.
Yep.
And then when we came to California, we were in San Francisco, and I was staying. There was a lady out there, Mrs. Stubo was her name. She was an older lady. She had 2 rooms to rent. And our ship was in California for about a month or 6 weeks. So I came home from my leave, then I came back, and then I told Peter, I says, I'd like to have you come to California with me too. But she was working, and she never had any money. So she wrote me a letter. She says, I don't have any money, and my mother and father, you know, I borrowed money from them and all that. I don't have any money. So I got the letter, and our ship was in a dry dock. So I got the letter, and I got into the church, and way down in the bottom of the deck is where they used to have the powder room. And you could take the ladder and go down there, and then, because when they'd shoot these big 60s, they'd have a conveyor that took these. So I went down there, had this letter, and I cried my eyes out. I says, oh Lord, can't you do something? Can't you help me to get Frida here? And I cried my eyes. I went downstairs and cried my eyes. The next day, Frida's girlfriend came to her, and she said, what? She said, why don't you go to California and be with Oliver? She says, I don't have any money. She says, I'll loan you all the money you need.
Wow.
So she borrowed Frida the money. And she came, and so she came to California. And when she came to California, I was witnessing and passing on tracks or something. She was getting off the train, and I was right down by the depot there when she was getting off the train there. And I was supposed to be looking for her as she got up. Instead, I was talking to somebody trying to lead him to the Lord. And I was talking to him about the Lord. And lo and behold, here's this girl coming in her fur coat. I said, oh! I said, excuse me, I saw a rat. Here it was Frida. Instead of being up on the train to meet her, she had to come running and find me. So then we stayed with Mrs. Stubo. The room was, how much was the room? Oh, $8 or $10 a week or something like that. It was almost nothing. You know? But we never had much money. And this lady would take and give Frida breakfast, give her supper,
Wow.
and a lot of, but the only meal she'd go out and meet in the middle of the day. And there was two ladies that stayed there. But she used to feed these. They ate more than they paid.
Yeah.
They paid rent.
Wow.
Mrs. Stubo. I'll never forget that as long as I live. And
She knew they were there visiting the servicemen, right?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to meet her. And she was a lovely older lady, but she just.
That was awful nice.
So we had a place to stay, and we were there. Our ship was in dock for about 6 weeks, a month or 6 weeks. So I got every other night I got to stay. Got shore duty. You're on duty one night and off duty the next. And so every other day we got to see each other, which was great. We'd just been married, so.
Yep.
So it was.
So then did she go back home when you left there?
Huh?
Then did she come back here?
Yeah, then she came back to Chicago. She came back to Chicago and went to work again. And then I went out to sea. And this was in, let's see, when was it? When was it? I can't think of. I don't remember exactly what time of the year it was, but I came home for the leave, and then our ship was in. I think this was in January. This was in the fall of in the winter months, because San Francisco sometimes warms up, but sometimes it stays cold too.
Yep.
And
Well, that was great. I think the tape's just about out.
got this from. I went to the schoolroom and I picked this up. It says, taken from a schoolroom after invasion of war, 1945.
It's a Japanese textbook.
Japanese, yeah. And this must be on industry. I have no idea. It has engines and
Planes.
and this is during the and then of course their flag.
Maybe it's really a military book there.
No. I think it's all pre-war, and it's and how do they read like this, don't they?
Yeah, cuneiforms up and down.
Now the Chinese, do they read it crossways?
No, I think they read up and down. You're right.
I think they read that way.
I don't know.
No, I think it's up and down.
No.
See the period there?